Did you know that only about 1 to 2% of the population are INFJs? That's right, you're basically a unicorn. Known as the advocate or the mystic, the INFJ is the rarest of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types. So rare you might need a magnifying glass to find one. If you've ever felt like you see the world differently or connect deeply with others, you might be one of them. Or maybe you're just really good at pretending. Let's explore 10 signs you might be an INFJ, backed by science and research, and sprinkled with a little humor because, hey, even the rarest personality type can laugh at themselves. After all, who doesn't love a good personality joke? 1. Deep empathy and intuition. INFJs have an uncanny ability to sense what others are feeling. It's like having a built-in emotional Wi-Fi. Research on emotional intelligence suggests that empathy is linked to heightened activity in the brain's mirror neuron system. So, basically, your brain is a super empathic sponge. As an INFJ, you might find yourself just knowing how someone feels, even if they haven't said a word. It's like having a sixth sense, but for emotions. It's almost as if you can step into their shoes, a gift and sometimes a burden. Just don't try to literally wear their shoes, that could get awkward. Kind of like being a mind reader but without the paycheck. Seriously, where's the paycheck? Just don't freak people out by finishing their sentences too often. They might think you're psychic. Or worse, that you're reading their diary. 2. A desire for meaningful connections. INFJs thrive on deep, authentic relationships. Casual small talk? Not their favorite. They'd rather discuss the meaning of life than the weather. They crave conversations that explore life's big questions. Like, why do we park on driveways and drive on parkways? According to Carl Jung, the psychologist behind the MBTI framework, INFJs are introverted intuitives, meaning they seek deeper patterns and truths in everything, especially human relationships. They're the ones asking, but how do you really feel about pineapple on pizza? While everyone else is discussing the weather. Fair warning, INFJs may leave a party early if it's all small talk and no substance. They're on a quest for the holy grail of conversations. 3. Visionary thinking. Do you often dream about what the world could be? Like maybe a place where Mondays don't exist? INFJs are forward thinkers with vivid imaginations. They're the ones who've already planned the next 3 plot twists in your favorite TV show. Studies on intuition suggest that this future-oriented thinking stems from the brain's ability to synthesize complex information. Or maybe it's just their superpower. INFJs don't just dream, they strategize ways to turn those dreams into reality. They're the ones with a color-coded plan for world peace. They're basically the friends who come up with a 5-year plan for your weekend road trip. And yes, it includes snack breaks. If you've ever been told, stop overthinking it. You might be an INFJ. Congratulations, you might just be an INFJ. Welcome to the club of overthinkers and dreamers. Love for solitude. While INFJs deeply value relationships, they also need plenty of alone time to recharge. Think of it as their secret superpower. This duality often confuses people. It's like they're social ninjas, here one moment, gone the next. Introversion isn't just about being quiet, it's about where you gain energy. And for INFJs, that cozy corner is their bat cave. And ENFJ's solitude is where their creativity and insights flourish. It's like their brain goes on a mini vacation. Think of them as emotional phone batteries. If they're not plugged into their alone time, they'll crash. And nobody likes a low battery warning. And yes, Netflix binges while wrapped in a blanket burrito totally count as creative processing. A unique mix of logic and emotion. Here's where INFJs are truly rare. They balance empathy with logic like a tightrope walker with a heart in one hand and a calculator in the other. They lead with their heart but use their head to guide decisions, kind of like a GPS that occasionally says, turn left at the next emotion. Neuroscientists have found that this duality is linked to activity in both the limbic system, emotion, and the prefrontal cortex, reason. It's like having a brain that can multitask between crying at a movie and solving a math problem. It's like having a built-in boardroom meeting between your heart and brain, complete with PowerPoint slides and occasional emotional outbursts. And yes, sometimes these meetings end in emotional overanalysis, followed by a midnight snack to think things through. Because who doesn't need a cookie to solve life's big questions? A strong sense of purpose. If you're an INFJ, you likely feel driven by a mission. Whether it's helping others, creating art, or advocating for change, INFJs want their lives to matter. They're like the superheroes of the personality world, minus the capes. This stems from their dominant cognitive function, introverted intuition, which pushes them to seek meaning and purpose. Think of it as having a life's GPS that's always set to make the world better. Sure, it's inspiring, but it can also be exhausting. Even superheroes need a break. Sometimes an INFJ just needs to hear, "It's okay to take a nap, world peace can wait until tomorrow." So go ahead, INFJ, hit the snooze button. Have you ever noticed how easily you adapt to different social situations? Like a social ninja, INFJs are masters of mirroring others' energy. It's like having a superpower but without the cape. Psychologists call this adaptive social behavior. We call it blending in like a pro. It's why INFJs often feel like they belong everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Like a chameleon with an identity crisis. One minute they're blending into a lively party, the life of the party, the next, they're in a corner wondering how they got there. Like a social Houdini. Pro tip: if you're an INFJ, carrying a book to social events is a great escape strategy. Just don't actually start reading it at the party, unless you want to be known as the mysterious bookworm. Perfectionism and high standards. INFJs are their own harshest critics. They can spend hours deciding if their socks match their mood. They strive for excellence in everything they do, which can be both a strength and a challenge. Like trying to paint the Mona Lisa with a single hairbrush. Research on perfectionism suggests it's tied to conscientiousness, a trait many INFJs score high on. So if you find yourself color-coding your bookshelf, you're in good company. But perfectionism is a double-edged sword. It drives them to achieve greatness, but it can also leave them stuck agonizing over which font to use for an email. Comic Sans, anyone? Remember, INFJs. Sometimes good enough really is good enough. And no, you don't need to alphabetize your spice rack. Creative expression. INFJs often channel their thoughts and emotions into creative outlets. Whether it's writing, music, or visual arts, creativity helps them process their inner world. And sometimes, it's the only way to explain why they have 17 unfinished projects. Studies show that creativity is linked to higher levels of emotional intelligence, a hallmark of INFJs. So if you see an INFJ staring into space, they're probably solving the mysteries of the universe, or deciding what to have for lunch. Just don't be surprised if their art is so deep and abstract that people stare at it and ask, is this a metaphor for existential despair or just a drawing of a tree? A constant search for growth. Lastly, INFJs are lifelong learners. They're always looking for ways to improve themselves and the world around them. Even if it means trying to grow a tree in their living room. This growth mindset, according to psychologist Carol Dweck, is key to resilience and success. And maybe to finally understanding how to fold a fitted sheet. INFJs often read self-help books, take up new skills, or seek mentors to guide their personal development. Because who doesn't need a mentor for assembling IKEA furniture? They're the people who can't just watch a movie about mountaineering. They'll immediately start researching climbing techniques. And then realize they're afraid of heights. And yes, this thirst for growth sometimes leads to taking on too much. Like trying to learn 5 languages at once. INFJs, it's okay to learn how to relax too. Seriously, put down the self-help book and take a nap. So do these signs resonate with you, or are you just here for the free personality test? Being an INFJ is both a gift and a responsibility, kind of like being the chosen one in a fantasy novel but with more coffee. Remember, it's not about fitting into a box, but embracing the unique traits that make you who you are. Unless that box is full of snacks, then, by all means, dive in. Let us know in the comments which sign resonated most with you, or if you think you might have another personality type. We promise not to judge much. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might appreciate it, or just share it with your cat. Cats love personality videos.